But there was always a lady back then that would come on the line that says, and you will not make the call. And my body started shaking uncontrollably, and I fell.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the breakthrough to purpose, passion, and prosperity. Today, I have the movement. You don't understand what I'm saying. I have the movement of sexy, fit, and well here today. She's a movement all by herself. Let me say it again. She's a movement all by herself. And wait until you hear why. Hey, I have Candice Camille here. How are you, Candice?
Absolutely fabulous. That's what I'm feeling today.
Good. That's awesome. I'm glad you're feeling fabulous. You know, I always start out with my pet peeve. This is my thing. I have issues. I'm working on myself, though, I promise you. When's your birthday?
January 7th.
Oh, we got a Capricorn in the house. Okay. All right, Capricorn. You know, so let me tell you my thing with Capricorns. I have a couple good friends that are Capricorns, but they're very, I'll use the word frugal. And every time I walk by them, I hear this sound. And the sound that I hear is, and I'm like, what's that sound? And it's the dollar in their pocket screaming to get the world.
There's just a little bit of truth in that. We are that. There's just a little bit of truth in that.
I had a friend in high school. When she would go shopping, next day she done took everything back. I don't know if she was a Capricorn, but she was a December Capricorn. That's funny to me. So are you any of the traits of the Capricorn?
Yeah, you're the outspoken, the boldness, the brave, a little bit of the frugalness as I've gotten older, because I pretty much now, my needs and my wants are all together, so money is not an issue. One of the things I learned about it, it's a tool and it's meant to be spent, especially when you have it. So, and life is just too short to save it. So if have your affairs in order, the dollar that you're trying to hold on to ain't gonna make a bit of difference if you're sick or you're dead.
That's true. That's true. How would you describe Candice Camille? Who is she?
Oh, so I often ask that question a lot of my clients without labels, without titles, and like, do we really know who you are? But for me, I do know that I'm energy.
Okay.
Yeah, I am this bold energy force that was put here to light a fire under other women.
The light of fire. And how do you propose that you light fire under other women?
By just giving you the message and how important it is to be well, and that for right now, especially Black women, we have these statistics that's over the top where we're pretty much out of order 7 and 10. 68% of us are obese, diabetic, hypertensive, high cholesterol, or depressed. So I need to light a fire up under you that you really do have the power to change your life. It is in your hands. You get to change your story based on your behavior.
I received that 100%. So tell me your methodology of teaching that woman how to get back to health.
First of all, you got to make up your mind. You know, the mind is the master power. If I had to quote James Allen, you know, it's the master power and we are mind. You know, your mind will take your tools, your thoughts, and your will, you know, and it'll bring forth 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. You think secret, it comes to pass. Your mind is that looking glass. What you think about, you really do bring about. So you really do, and that's a James Allen quote, but you really do have to change your mind. So when you think of it, I sort of create a mind diet for you. Mm-hmm. And that is when you think about mind in terms of an acronym, you have to have a method to change your mind. You have to be intentional to change your mind. And changing your mind should be non-negotiable. That's the N. The D, you got to be damn determined to get it done. It's something that you want. So that's pretty much what I create around my clients, a mind diet before I can change your body, because you can't get your body tight until you get your mind right. So we work on the mind. It's imperative, because if you don't change your mind, you just go back to your standard operating procedure.
This is true. Modus operandi.
Absolutely.
So what is, like, for example, if I came to your class, what would be one of the first things that you would tell me to do so that I could really get my mindset straight to even go on the journey of health?
Take a deep breath, then exhale. Get the girls up.
Get the girls up.
Stomach in.
Stomach in.
Squeeze the booty cheeks.
Squeeze that.
That's what I would tell you. It's just that simple. But form. So that's the form that we're going to work on. So when you come in, you have to take that deep breath, get your lungs ready, hold your chest up, shoulders back and down, stomach in, squeeze the booty cheeks. Now you're ready. Breathe. And then we get started.
So that kind of reminds me of Pilates. They say that a lot in Pilates. When I
Yes.
go to Pilates, they say the same thing.
It's the same across the board, no matter what form of exercise that you're working on. Yoga, Pilates, weightlifting, resistance training, aerobics, HIIT, it's all the same.
How did you get into this?
Now, the short story of it is that I'm a cancer conqueror.
Okay.
Been in remission for about 30 some odd years now. So late in my 30s, rushing to work as all women do. We rushing around, taking care of family, husbands, everybody, and not really putting a lot of time into yourself, and speeding, going to work. I had an accident and hit my head, and so they took me to the ER. And even then, I was fussing. I got to get to work. Leave me alone. I ain't got no time for the x-ray. I got to get to work. I got to get my kids. I got to get home. And when they did take the x-ray, because I'd hit my head pretty hard on the steering wheel, and when they took the x-ray, they was like, we see something in your throat. You need to go see a pulmonologist. And I was like, what are you talking about? They said, well, have you been coughing? I said, I got allergies. We come up with all kinds of stuff. Colds a little bit here and there. Have you coughed up blood? Once or twice, because, coughing too hard, the things that we do. And they was like, no, you need to go see a pulmonologist. So when I went to see a pulmonologist, and, they went through the testing and did the biopsies, did a bronchoscopy, and they came back and told me I had something called a cystic acnoid. What was it? The ACC is basically what it's called, but it's cancer of the throat. Adenoid cystic fibroma, something like that.
Okay.
I forget the actual name, but yeah, it was of the acnoids of the throat. And I'm like, I never smoked a day in my life. So when you think of throat cancer, lung cancer,
Exactly, that's what you think.
and I was like, I never smoked a day in my life. Where did this come from? But I didn't have time for that. So to try to figure it out, I just now figured out, because when you hear cancer, the big C word, you automatically think death. So I just thought I was going to die. I'm like 30, married, really good guy, children, life is good. Life was messed up. And now life is good, and now this, why God? So I was angry with God for a while, because by then, going through child abuse with my parents and being homeless and domestic violence, and finally got to a place in life where life was good, and hear this come, I wanted to know why. I was so angry with God. I didn't know what to do, because how my life is better now. How can you end it? How is this happening? But you hurry up and get out of there. When I say hurry up, it took a minute. So I went through the treatment, the normal cancer stuff that they give you, the chemotherapy, the whole 9 yards, and none of that stuff shrunk the tumor. At one point they told us that, we had to do the surgery, cut your throat and give you a trach and put you on a ventilator, and we may get all the cancer and we may not. And so back then I was a certified respiratory therapist. So I was working in pulmonology. So I knew what that all meant. And one of the things I told my husband at the time is, nah, we ain't doing that. I am not becoming my patient, because I see every day what happens to someone that's on a ventilator or have a hole in their neck. it's not going to be me. So I declined the surgery. So the doctor said, well, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to die. I said, if I have the surgery, what's the chance? There's a 50-50 chance. I said, so then what's the point? What's the point? And I told my husband, let's go. Because if I'm going to die, let's go home and let me finish living. I'm good in the moment. Let's finish living this life. But it got bad. I was debilitated for a while, where somebody had to clean me, feed me. I was ready to die. I literally went home to die.
Because you decided that.
I decided, and when you talk about the mind,
Gotcha.
when you decide something and you manifest it, I had already visualized my funeral.
You all set it up
I
already.
was set and ready to go. But that's how powerful the mind is. And one day, I was so angry with God, I didn't want to hear nothing. Like, that, go away, you did this. So I had a friend, you always have a friend.
Exactly.
That will come and set you all the way straight. I had a friend, and she was a Christian woman, and I was like, girl, and, I'm summarizing nicely, but I used a whole lot of cuss words back there. A whole lot of heathenness came out. It's about you and God. I ain't want to hear none of that. And she says, girl, if you don't stop that, you going to hell with a pair of gasoline drawers on. That's what she said to me. And I just got a visual of you. Right. I didn't want that. And she says, just talk to God, pray, and I was like, we learned the 23rd song and all of that. The Bible, I wasn't all that great with. It was made to go to church, but I really didn't learn anything. So I don't have this relationship with him. So she was like, you know what? Just talk to him like you're talking to me. Things got so bad. And I just said, okay, God, here's the deal, dude. And I said it just like that, I says, I want two things. I don't want to feel this pain anymore. So my girlfriend says that, you're a cool dude. Nice place, take me where you are, or either give me the strength to live, because I need to take care of my kids and my husband, because they were tiny. I didn't want them to go through me living like this. It was the reason why I didn't want the surgery. So right now is the time to either take me away or give me strength to move. And I just said amen. That was my prayer that night. Woke back up like 3 seconds later and say, okay, Katrina said that. I need to say in Jesus' name, amen. At the end.
So let me complete the plan.
Let me complete. So I need you to do one of these two things. So either one. So again, you're looking for something. The next day I woke up, I thought I was dead in heaven. I was like, oh, he's a really cool dude. Took my bed, the whole 9 yards.
He's cool.
I'm laying up here with him. He took everything with it. But when I heard the birds outside, I realized I was still alive. And I was like, dude, come on. But here was the shift and the turn. That in that moment, like I said, someone who was always helping me, someone was there, had AIDS. And I turned to move and I fell on the floor. And oh my God, it hurt so good, because I haven't moved like that for months by myself. No changing. Somebody had to turn me, the whole 9 yards. And I fell on the floor and I screaming, because it did hurt, but it hurt so good. And my husband come running in the room and how you get down there? I said, God threw me on the floor. God threw me on the floor. And he thought, okay, the cancer done gone to her brain. She done lost it. He was like, baby, let me get you back up in the bed, right? And I was like, no, leave me on the floor. Because in that moment, what I understood about God, that we were taught God was this supernatural human on the outside of you. What I learned that night, that God was a spirit that you had to surrender to on the inside of you. So once I did that, that's when our relationship began. And I believed. I had faith. Not only did I believe and have faith, I know. I was like, I know I'm going to live now. Even for things were still bad because I couldn't move. I laid on that floor, tried to crawl and everything. After that, changed my mind. I wanted to live. And one of the things I know, especially, as I've gotten more deeper and deeper into this as a master trainer and even the relationship with God, is that there's faith, there's that hope, there's belief, there's the knowing, because when you know, you flow. But I now know the work that needs to be done. If you're not willing to do the work that comes after that, you won't change. You won't have that paradigm shift. So my work came in is that, okay, Candice, what do you know about the body? What do you know to do that's going to keep the body strong? I needed to move it, and I needed to eat really good food. Back then, there was no food to eat. I had Isocal. Today, they call it Ensure. Isocal. But I would literally drink Isocal, and throw it up. I would be over the toilet, drinking and throwing up, and say, one day it's going to stay down. And one day it did. And when the food started staying down, I start crawling. I would get out to bed and crawl to the bathroom. And like Martin Luther King said, you have to crawl before you can walk before you can run, and run before you can fly. That was my life in that order. So now I'm flying because I crawled, I walked, I ran marathons. Now I'm flying in this movement to teach women how to just stay up, how to just stay. Because one of the things I learned about getting well, being well, staying well, it's not about starting, it's about staying. And one thing I got staying power, because I've been in this for almost 40 years, just staying. I have no reason to change anything, to do anything differently, because what I did then, what I'm doing now, it's the exact same thing on a different level, and it works.
So your body's in love with you now.
And I am madly in love with my body. But when I tell you I'm having a love affair with myself, girl, it's deep. It's real deep.
I received that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And so that's wonderful, because that story alone can empower so many people that you work with.
Yes.
And you walk the walk, and
Yes.
you talk the talk.
And still do.
Now, and she says, I still do, with like a tone in her voice, because I got to put it out here. I have to put it out here. This woman can do a plank for 4 hours and 19 minutes.
Not yet. 4 hours, 19 minutes, not yet. That's the record.
The record is... I claim it. I'm putting it out there. She will do it for 4 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, that she can do it more than 1 minute. It's amazing. But 4 hours, you people don't hear me. Tell us about that journey to how you decided you were going to compete for the world record of me.
No, that again, just like everything else, you create your own domino effects in life, and competing is a domino effect of me starting to change my body out of depression. So again, these stories, even from the cancer and going back, I lost my husband, and, holidays were just hard, without him. So around the holidays, I just would either go on a trip somewhere, because that's what we did, or get in my car and decide if I'm going north, south, east, or west, and just drive. And this one particular year, 2015, it was just a challenging time of missing my husband really bad around the holidays. And in November, I did this 30-day running challenge. I'm going to run every day for 30 days. And I did that. What was the lesson? It was something I had to force myself to do. But after the 30-day challenge, and I did it, I'm like, okay, I still feel the same. Like, it didn't change anything. I did it. And that's a lot of thing about challenges. We do challenges. We're supposed to do challenges to change something. But if you don't receive the change, it was a waste of time. And I thought, in that moment, because of what I was thinking, it was a waste of time. Because I'm a marathoner, so I know I can run. So I was like, but I wasn't getting up doing it. So let me just say I'm going to do it for 30 days and see what happens. And I went right back to not feeling good. I wanted my husband still around Christmas, New Year's, the whole 9 yards. And I just stayed in the bed, covers over my head. And sometimes you ask yourself, you got to do better than this. Who can help you? Because, you get isolated, so you don't talk to anybody anymore. And that's what we do. Have problems, I don't think anybody can help you. Then I had got to a point I was sick of hearing myself whine. So I just stayed in the bed. Right. I barely washed up, brushed my teeth. I only went to pee because the body was doing what it did. Other than that, I didn't eat hardly. And one day I just, again, I was like, okay, well, let me go to this dude, right? And I was like, all right, God, your turn again. He's
like, I'm so glad to have you back.
And it's something when you get in a crisis, you're like, okay, God, come on through, right?
Right.
And I heard this voice, and I used to think people is crazy until I started going through this, and they heard the voice of God and talking to them. I'm like, oh, get out of my face with that crap. But I heard a voice, and it just said, get up, and it wasn't me. I was the only one in the house. So I know I'm going crazy talking to myself. But I got up to pray, because that's what I heard, like, get up. We're taught, get on our knees to pray. Get up and pray. Talk to me. That's what I heard. Just talk to me. Get up and talk to me. So I get up out of the bed, and I get on my knees and pray, and I hear God say, lay down. I was like, you tell me to get up. You tell me, so my solace mind start going wacko, right? I'm arguing with you, right? I get up, get down, whatever. So I was like, okay, so he wants me to lay prostrate before him, so you're going to lay on the floor. All right, let's get down and pray. And once I get down and I'm laying down, and I was like, okay, God, just get me through this. This has been 12 years now. Why am I still feeling like this, right? And he says, get up. So I was done. I was like, get up, get down. This don't make sense. Get up. And so again, by then, I was still into wellness, was into the wellness industry. So I just literally got myself up in plank. And the funniest thing happened. I don't know what's funny, what it was, but I felt this evolution of what I still couldn't tell you what it is that went around my body because I was elevated. So there's something to elevation. When you are depressed, there is something to elevation. I can't quite tell you what it is, but it was almost as if when I raised myself off the floor, and it was only for seconds because I was in bad shape. So within that maybe 15 seconds, I just felt something, air, light, whatever, just go around me. And my body started shaking uncontrollably, and I fell. But in that moment, I got up, I took a shower, got back in the bed. I don't want nobody to think it ain't turned around because I got up and did no playing. Got back in the bed, pulled the covers over my head. But just like that 30-day running challenge, it was something to get up to do. I now had a purpose. My purpose have come back, right? Because like I said, when I started this journey, with God and getting well, I promised him that if you just help me through this, and that was part of the cancer story. If you just help me through this, I will help anybody that will listen to me to tell them how I got well. Because that was a promise that I made to God, and that was a plan as we move forward. So that's what I was working on. So I was like, okay, here we go again. So when I got up the next day, the promise, the plan, the purpose had materialized. So my purpose was to get up every single day, raise my body off the floor, and wait for it to shake, because change came in that moment of shaking. So on December 22nd of 2015 is when the Plank Talk Challenge started. Because when I would get up, I would talk to God. like as I was up. So each day I did it, it became more and more and more. And by January the 1st, I was able to stay up for 2 minutes. I was able to stay up for 2 minutes. And, so for all of my marketing friends, and listen, you got to take this to the world. So go to Facebook and start a challenge. And that's what I did. So it went viral real fast. So I went to Facebook, January 1st, 2016, and I called this the Plank Talk Challenge. You got a minute. So I created this hashtag. So you got a minute. It's only 60 seconds in it. 1 minute can really change the course of your well-being. So that's where it all started. And from that day on, it just went through the world madly. So every day I would plank. So my beginning, and God gave me a number of 1,000. So I was like, 1,000 days? Are you kidding me? I look at the calendar. And
That's 3 years.
That's 3 years and some change, right? You want me to not only plank, because I had planned on doing that, but he wanted me to go live now because I took it to the world. So now you got to hold yourself accountable for what you said you're going to do. So for 1,000 days, I planked live on Facebook. For 1,000 straight, for 1,000 days. And that challenge, we became a nation. So right now I have thousands of people. So I created Plank Talk Nation. So I have thousands of people all over the world planking, getting up, talking for 1 minute. You got a minute, and when I'm out in the street now, I hear people calling me, that's the plank lady. Or, got a minute, like screaming out the cars. And it just blew me away that they pulled me to India and London and oh my God, I went to New Delhi and all over the world because as a speaker, they wanted me to get in their room with my bold energy and get their attendees planking. So I did that all over the world. So it has gone mad. So as I continue to plank, the more you plank, the more you can plank. So I was like, that's the longest anybody ever did this, right? Because now I'm planking for an hour, because I think on the 1,000th day I planked for 1 hour live. And I'm like doing this thing, and I'm like, okay, who's done this? And when I first found it, it was a young lady, a teenager that had did it, and she was only an hour and something. And I was there, let me practice. I went back, and here Gina started, that's her name. Where the hell is 4 hours come from? So then I says, okay, I want to be in this book, because when I did the research on it, it definitely wasn't any Black women, wasn't even Black people, period, no African Americans. It was either in China. There's a veteran that was here that did it for 10 hours. The dudes is on a whole nother level.
10 hours?
The dudes is on a whole nother level.
10 hours?
10 hours. That's the challenge.
You
for
hear that,
men.
Sam? You only got 10 hours. 10 hours. That's all you got to do is 10
hours, right? But anyway, so I just started, I started training. So I started, really researching what is it that I had to do in order to plank. And what I found out basically just is the same way we started it. You just got to make up your mind, and the rest will follow, because your body will do what your mind tell it to do. So I tell my body, listen, we're doing this, and we're going to do this every day. What do I need to do? But this is where the other part of the program comes in, that I had to teach myself to do in order to get into tip-top shape. There's a method. There's that methodology. Okay, so I had a message. I created the movement. So I now needed a methodology in order to get there. So I create a method so I can plank, so I can plank as long as I can. Practice.
Okay, so that's an amazing story. So I want to come a couple of things that I thought about as I'm listening to you. So first, you told us about your journey to getting through cancer. How did you go to remission? Like, what happened for that?
Oh, so again, and this is my personal, because I tell anybody, wellness is personal.
Okay.
So when you make your decision as to what you have to do, It is truly your decision and yours alone. So one of the things that I decided I didn't want to take any more chemo because it was poison, it's radiation. So I decided what did I have to do to get the body strong? It was a 2-year journey. And I knew that I had to eat the right foods. I had to continue my relationship with God. And I had to somehow get this body to move. When I tell you movement is my jam because it saved my life, you got to move your body in order for it to be effective and efficient. And that's what I learned. Now, granted, I was debilitated in the bed. I couldn't move. So I says, how am I going to do this? Went to the Bible. I went to Back to Eating, learn how to eat. And I went to Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Those are my 3 Bibles, by the way.
Got you. I received it. Yes.
So I went and I read and I did research for all the medicine that they had gave me. And I mean, I did deep research. And this is before we had Google, right? So I aged myself a little bit. So you had to go to the library and, go to the index and figure things out. But the medicine that they had me on, I went and found what is the basics, because of any medication, before it got synthetic, there was a food in it somewhere. And I went and found the food, and all of it was little tiny things. And I started eating those foods and I got me an herbalist. I went straight Western medicine. I got me an herbalist. Eastern, I got massage therapists and acupuncturists. My husband called them all witch doctors. I had them all.
You got a witch doctor.
Witch doctor for everything, right? Listen, come rub my body, oil me, give me herbs, give me food that I needed. And the more that I nourish my body, and one of the things about what I say about food, so as a certified nutritionist now, I can honestly say to you that food is information. We think food is fuel. It's information before it's fuel. See, because you got to learn how to talk to your body, especially when you're having a love affair with it. You got to know exactly what it needs. So I needed to understand what information, how did I have to communicate through these foods to give my body to say I needed to turn this thing around. I needed to turn this thing around. What supplements did I have to take? So we figured all of that out, me and all my witch doctors.
Receive it. All right, WD Crook.
Listen, naturopath, all of it.
I'm with you.
I'm for all of it.
Okay.
Still to this day. And started to learn how to eat. And once I started eating, you get strength. Because the only way to get strength is to nourish your body, because that's what we feed off her. By then, I had no muscles. They were flaccid, So now I'm eating. Now I got strength. Start crawling, I'm walking a little bit. My husband was scared, though. He really was, but he still had to work. And I thank God we were financially okay to be able to do these things, because some of us are not. So talk about a blessing there.
Absolutely.
Because, of course, our insurance is not going to pay the witch doctors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't believe in that.
Yes,
it's not part of our capital program.
There you go. And so I was blessed to have it, to be able to do it. So got better and started moving, and I would tell my aide, my husband would tell the aide that was taking care of me at the time, and, make sure she okay, make sure she rests, because we have been brainwashed to believe when we sick, we need to rest. But if you're sleeping 8 hours a day, your body rests and rejuvenating. After that, it's time to get the hell up. Right. Get up. Don't just lay there and die.
Because you need the movement.
You need the movement to live. If you're laying there, you're dying. If you don't get up, you're not living. So that's what my brain. So that goes back to my grandmother. Girl, get up, move, So as a little kid, go play, So I used to tell my aide, get me up. Get me to the park. She's like, I said, if you tell my husband, I'll have him fire you.
if you tell him, you get fired.
You get fired. As long as you let me get me out and take me out. She was like, well, ma'am, I don't have a car. I said, call a cab. Call a cab. Got to know this cab driver. Basil was his name. Oh my God. He came every day and picked me up. And I remember when he first saw me, he was like, are we going to the hospital? I said, no, take me to the park. And I would walk 2 or 3 steps. I would crawl a little bit more. There was a park in Newark, New Jersey, Weequahic Park, and that was the one that I would go to. And I walked, I crawled, and it was a trail, a lake trail that was about 3 miles. And I said, one day I'm going to walk around this trail. And that's what happened. So going, changing the way I eat, eating enough so I can move, and taking my cane and my walker and continuing to believe and know that this will happen. And that's when you talk about changing your mind. So that was the method back then, eat better foods, get up and move, take your walker. If you can't walk, crawl. And I would literally crawl up the hill. My aide thought I was crazy. But one of the things I believe even to this day, the way that I operate, my normal is other people's crazy. Still to this day. But from going there, taking that method from, all my herbalists and my naturopath doctors and the herbs and the food that I was doing at the time allowed me to crawl up that hill. Then one day with practice, every day I went to that park, except on Saturday and Sundays because my husband was home. Got you. And I was afraid to show him that I could get up and do these things. So then one day I did, because I needed him to come around and see what was going on. And he did, and he started taking me to the park. And, one day I ran that park, they had this hill called Dead Man's Hill. And I remember saying to my aide, I'm coming for that hill. And I ran that park every day for years, because that where my power was. Even now I tell my son, listen, cremate my body, put me in your pocket and sprinkle me around that trail so somebody else can catch my fire, because that was where it all began for me. That's where I got lit, So it was almost as if, how the old gas stove and you turn it on and you get the click, 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 click,
yes.
click, tick, 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 and tick, 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 before it go boom. I went boom. I got the tick, 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 tick every single day. Every single day. And one day I walked that park. When it went boom is when I ran it. And I never stopped, looked back. That's still my method to this day.
I get it. I love it. So how many kids do you have?
2.
2. Girl or boy?
1 girl, 1 boy.
Okay. Who's the oldest?
The girl.
Okay. And how old were your kids when you were going through this?
A hot mess. We all was a hot mess. It's rough, because I tried to keep it away from them, because that's what we do. We try to cover and protect our kids. They knew I was sick, but didn't know the depths of it. They couldn't grasp everything that was going on with it. So my son, he was young, started getting in trouble, not doing this, was an A student, grades started changing, their whole attitude, everything changed, because they just saw this woman that got up going to work, and now I'm just in the bed. And, my husband was a protector to the guilt. Your mom's okay. She all right, just go give her a kiss. And then I would be like, I don't want them to see me like this or whatever. So he sort of kept them away. But if I had to do it again, I wouldn't. I would do it differently. So you talk about some of the lessons, because I really did isolate myself, even though I got better with it. But I isolated my family for the people that love me, especially my friends. I wouldn't let anybody in. I got to a point where, and it was because people didn't know how to handle cancer. People don't know how to handle cancer. And it was like you would come and visit. So when I did open up for you to come and visit, I saw this look of dread and doom, like I'm dead on your face. And I'm like, if you ain't coming here to make me smile and bring me some books and some food, I want to see you.
Right.
So that's what
you feel
right,
that energy.
I feel that.
Right.
So the energy. But with my children, once I told them the story of everything. But even my oldest daughter, I tell you, I lie about my age so much. So I think she like 47, 48. But listen, how old she is? Listen, I had that chick when I was 2. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But and
another viral moment in your life.
Absolutely. And so one of the things about it is, so when I tell her now that as an adult woman, she says to me, Mommy, you are just hope. She says, because when I read your story, because I am writing a book, so I figured let them read it, before I let this go, because a lot of the stuff I never told them.
Right.
And so when we sat down and read the story, and she finished reading it, and she was like, if I had to say one word, like you always say, because I was always say to my clients and everybody, what's your word? And I was like, if I had to say one word, it would be hope. And Mommy, you are a manifestation of what's possible. Because as I read this and see everything that you went through, that we had no clue that you covered us so we wouldn't be sad of it, that you just manifested yourself to be well, but you never gave up hope. After a while, she said, in the beginning, you were hopeless. Where'd the hope come from? And I said, well, the hope came from, you have to have a reason to live. And I said, you and your brother became my reason. I was just thinking about me and how I was going to feel. But if there was just this inkling of me living, then I had to do it for you all.
A good reason to do it.
Yes.
What happened to your husband?
You hear this a lot. The caregivers, they take care of you, but they don't take care of himself. He was a product of that. So at the time, he was having heart issues that we didn't know anything about.
He didn't share.
He didn't share, and that's what killed him. Because he didn't take care of himself. He didn't go to the doctor. And when the turnaround came and I got well and I found out it was his heart. And he was Honduranian, so he had an infection. He had a heart issue, and he went to Honduras to visit his mom, and he got bitten by a horsefly that was infected. And that was it, because the infection went straight to his heart that was in trouble anyway, and he didn't make it out.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
he was a good dude. He was the dude that, when I tell you, like my backstory from the abuse and everything, he was the dude that taught me how to fall in love with myself. Yeah, so that's where the self-love and everything came from long before I even got sick. So it's easy to have this love affair with myself, because he was like, I'm in love with your soul. Why aren't you? So, and that was the day, I began to really go deep. Like, what is this soul thing everybody talking about? So, so I'm in love with me and my soul.
What's your perspective on soul now in terms of, and I ask that question because this is my theory and my belief with God is that, we all are interconnected in some shape or form because we're all energy, right? And I believe that on the other side, I don't believe that this is my only life. And I believe on the other side that we all make spiritual contracts because we come here to learn something so that we can evolve to be our best selves. And so the soul-to-soul connection, maybe you and him had a spiritual contract that he was going to make sure that you would be okay.
I believe that to my core. So you start talking about the core, this is a whole nother thing, right?
Right.
I mean, deep down to my core. And I know that we are all interconnected no matter what, because even when you think about, because one of my questions I have for myself is what was the difference between your spirit and your soul? And there is a difference. It's so, your spirit is that flame. So that's why fire is so important to me, because it's a spirit, it's the heat that you generate, that's the energy, that's your spirit. So right here in your soul is the oxygen. So when you walk into an empty room and you got this flame and you got your soul here, it's your soul that fan your flames that's going to give you that ignition so you can be good in life.
Got you.
So when I found that out,
That alignment,
I was like, now I understand. You're like your soul, when you think about that interconnective of oxygen. Oxygen is what keeps us alive. Oxygen is our breath. You got life. So your soul really is your life. So when you think about what are you doing for your life, it has to be so deep.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? It has to be, you often ask, what's your why?
Right. What's your why? Exactly.
And see, here the wellologists come. It's like, I want to know the why beneath the why.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's the cellular level. And if you don't reach there, you will always do this stop, start, and this hamster wheel of life. So you got to go so deep and beyond in order to stay. Because being well, like I said, is personal. But being well is not about starting something. It's not about doing something. It's about being and staying.
Being and staying. Because we can do it like the challenge you said earlier. We could do that for 30 days, but if we don't do it, it has to become a lifestyle. It's your day-to-day thing.
I think lifestyle is overused too.
You think so? Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Only because they haven't individualized it. That's why I say your life. So because everything is so cookie cutter, because everything is so cookie cutter is the reason we in the predicaments that we in. Everybody trying to be the same person, do the same thing.
Instead of being their authentic self.
Instead of being their naked self. That's how I get to it. Because when you naked, it's just you. It's just you and all your glory. So at the end of the day, that's what you need to really tap into when you're talking about your life. Like, what's your uniqueness in your life, because we're all uniquely different. And I often say, people will say, how do you get in the shape like you're in? I want your muscles, if you're sort of back, you would understand. Okay, girl. And I would be like, no, ma'am. I worked for this. I says, but you can be the highest version of yourself if you are willing to do the work. I say, are you willing to do the work at the level at which you want results? So if you're willing to do that, you and I, we can work. And that's how it all starts. Because you got to be willing to show up and do what's necessary to get your results. See, often people say they're ready, but they ain't ready.
You're right.
You ain't ready, because I would say to you, Tonya, okay, what result you want? Okay, then I would ask you why. And then I was like, well, what are you willing to do to get there?
A plank. Okay, I'm sorry. Wait.
Listen, a plank, yes. So, and a plank will get you there. And I'll be like, okay, so let's do it. Because I'm known to plank anywhere, in anything, and at any time. It don't matter, right? But the thing about it is that that's what you have to be willing to change. Or if you say you want better, one of my models is better is always available, but you have to figure it out. You have to create a method to better. better just not
That
going to
doesn't
knock on your
happen.
door. It's something that you really, really have to want. You know, I was speaking yesterday at another seminar, and one of the things I say to them, you know, a pastor told me a long time ago, people beg for what they need and beg for what they need and buy what they want. You know, and I thought that was so, I was like, there's some truth in that. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to really doing what's necessary to be well, it's some changing that has to take place. It's a mindset change. I mean, even from something so simple as our cars, you know, we take better cares of our cars than we do our body. We put better gas in our car than we put food in our body. You know, we do what's necessary. If I say to one of my clients, my sneakers cost $150, I change them every 3 months. And she was like, well, I'm not doing it. I was like, but you just spent $1,300 on 4 tires. I don't understand. So why?
And the feet carry.
And the feet is going to carry you. Mm-hmm. Like, this is your life. That car, you're going to change it. I said, but you're willing to spend that premium money on the car, but you're not willing to spend it for your body. I said, there has to be a mindset shift right now, because right now you have no value in your body. And I says, right now, it's really the real estate, the piece of real estate that God has given us, free and clear, right? God gave us these amazing bodies, free and clear, mine included. Why are most of us in foreclosure? I was in foreclosure, but I got myself out. I got my body out of foreclosure. Because even being a senior citizen, I'm on no medicine. I can run a marathon. I can plank for 4 hours. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that work. And you would say, well, all you do is work out? No, I work out 60 minutes a day. That's it. I said, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. I got 60 for me. What you got?
I receive it. So you used something I was a little confused about just a moment ago. Senior citizen, I'm not clear on. I'm not clear on who we're talking about. So I got a little confused.
Listen, I want my senior citizen discount. I have no issue.
Your art membership and all.
And because again, society deems us that way. So when you think about senior citizens and the youth, we are two classes of people that is I want to say overseen to a certain degree. It's like we're in corners somewhere. It's just not a lot of attention to the seniors as they get older. And when I say seniors, of course, we're talking 60 and above. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I'm 60 and above. So I'm not senior citizens. But one of the thing about it is that age is just a number. I tell everybody, right now, I was on Dr. Oz a couple years ago, and he told me that, my heart, my lungs, my spleen, and all that stuff was 40 years old. So that's the age I'm going with. So that's what Dr. Oz told me that it's your organ age, it's not your chronological age that really defines you. It doesn't define your health. It's your organ age. So for me, I'm reversing my organ age. So that's why I can run my marathons and plank, or anybody else that you see out here is doing it, because it reverses the organ age. Or you see somebody that's 30 years old and they die of a massive heart attack, is because their heart is 80 based on their lifestyle behavior. Their life's behavior. So that's basically what it is. So for me, and even me, I'm a director of a senior program, and one of my motto there is to add more years to their life and more life to their years.
Absolutely. By
showing them how to move and eat better.
The thing about the age of your vital organs, is there 2 questions. I want you to share with me what you eat during the course of a day, and then how do you reverse that, or can you reverse that?
Yes. Let's start with, can I reverse it?
Okay.
Yes, you can reverse it.
Okay.
Can I? Yes, you can. And one of the things about age reversal, and that's basically based on your organs, it goes to when we talk about what was my method. My method that I would teach all my clients is something I call meshing. Once you make up your mind and you go through what method I have to do and you get intentional and you become non-negotiable about your health and you make this determination you're going to do it, now I take you over to mesh. I've been meshing for a long time. And what meshing means is this, like the M stands for movement. You got to move daily. The E stands for eat well daily. The S stands for sleep a lot daily. The 8 stands for hydration, hydrate a lot daily. So we create that program. So for just about 40 years or so, 30, almost a little over, close to 40 years, I've been moving every day. It has not been a day since I got well that I have not exercised.
Gotcha.
Movement is my jam. It's my power. When you talk about your superpower, movement, consistency is my superpower. I know it's something just like I gotta breathe, I gotta move. Eating well, eat the rainbow. You got to eat something green. You got to be colorful with your foods. For most of us, especially in America, we got this sad diet, standard American diet. I call it sad. That's a sad diet because most of it is beige and white. And listen, if you're eating beige and white, it ain't right. Period. All right. Okay. Period. Yeah. So eating, sleeping, it's underrated. Because that's where our body rejuvenate and, shed old stuff and new stuff, get our mind together, Clarity comes with rest. If you ain't
How many hours of sleep on average do you do?
8 to 9.
Oh, yeah, 8 to 9.
Listen, you can't get me after 8 o'clock. It's a wrap. I make no bones about it.
You said, I'm
apologize.
Good night.
Good night. Listen, for most people that know me, it's be like, listen, we know she ain't answering.
At 8 o'clock, you in the bed?
In the bed, because I hit the floor 4:30 every morning. Without fail, because that's my time. Because I start training at 6 a.m. other people. So 4:30 is I got my time. So I get up, I do what I have to do. But if you're one of the ones that text me at 9 o'clock, at 4:30 I get you back. Because you in bed. Because when I get up, I get your checks, right? And they was like, so my friends will call me like, we're trying to catch you before you go to bed, because they know, because I train and I have to be in front of the camera,
right,
just like this, at 6 a.m. ready to roll, because I have a live online gym now, whereas before the pandemic, I had a actual brick and mortar.
Right. Since
the pandemic, I went online. And so I'm online teaching every single day. So I have to have
every single day.
7
days a week.
No. Let me Monday through Friday.
Gotcha.
Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 a.m. I am teaching online. So I tell folks, listen, I've taken all excuses off the table. You can come into the Sexy Fit and Well Live Fit Club and get your work in. Workout in. All you have to do is roll out of the bed. Your bed, wherever you are. I got 2 expectations. Put on a good bra and good sneakers. After that,
right.
It's a woman's
you
club.
only got to put panties on.
I know. You don't need nothing else, and that's your thing. I can't see you. But the thing is, you can see me.
Right.
So I have to be camera ready, but we work on every part of the body from the top of your ears, because that's where your trap muscles run to your ankles. So especially, again, as we age, we need this resistant training. We need this weight training. We need this body weight training. We need functional fitness that allows us to put our pants on, reach over, get something out the closet just to be functional, get in the car. So you want to know how many seniors can't get in the bathtub because they can't get out? So having that upper body weight to be able to function in life. I've had clients where, working in the hospital, because that's my background, where we've had patients that, sat on the toilet and couldn't get up and all that kind of things. Or I would see older women when I was younger, and I would be like, God, I don't want to be a bent over lady, right? What can I do? So all of these things is one of my fears. I got 2 fears in life. I don't want to be a bent over lady, and I don't want to be a burden to anybody. So in order not to do that, I have to mesh. That means I got to move every day. I got to eat right. I got to sleep my 7 to 9 hours a day. And I drink 90 ounces of water a day, but you should at least be drinking 64 ounces of water a day.
I receive it.
Yeah.
So what's your breakfast? Is it a smoothie or something like that?
No, I eat. I'm hungry. Okay. This morning I have some eggs, some pancakes. Wait a minute, I eat. Because and this is the misconception. First of all, you can't take a food group out or minimize what you're eating, because again, we're talking about nourishing your vital organs. You start taking stuff away, you're going to have trouble. Skin trouble, hair trouble, teeth trouble, all kinds of troubles if you're not giving your body the supplementation that it needs via nutrition. So I eat carbohydrates, protein, and fats with every meal. When you take one of those are considered the macronutrients. When you take those out is the reason why so many people lose weight, gain weight. Now, losing weight is science, meaning that if you go below 1,000 calories a day, you starving yourself, you're going to lose weight. That's just science. But as soon as your mind is going to make you eat some more. So as soon as you go back to your normal way of eating, they're going to gain it back. So, but if you just maintain the nutritional groups that you need, we need carbohydrates. Without them, you have no energy. You need protein. Without protein, you're going to be so sluggish. You need fat if you want to get rid of fat.
So let me ask this. I'm sure you are. Are you familiar with the blood type diet?
Yes.
Do you think there's some, based on what you're saying, I don't see the alignment. Do you know what I mean? Because there's some like A blood types, O blood types should eat this. That whole.
But all of that is just making you do something. Is there any validity to it? I can't say yay or nay.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, when I think about what's my blood type, when I went and looked into it, it tells you to eat the same thing you're supposed to be eating to be healthy. Now, all of our body and our DNAs are a little differently. So again, when you listen to your body,
yeah.
When you are aware,
in tune.
When you are aware and tune with your body, you know exactly what it's going to take, what it need, and do it. So if you are lactose intolerant, you cannot have lactose, So listen to your body. If for me, I'm a flexitarian, that means I eat what I want according to the way my body feel. So I don't eat meat and red meat because it's too heavy for me. I like to run. I like to be light. Meat is heavy. It's something that stays in your system for a long time. So the way that I operate and move, that won't work for me. So again, knowing what you eat and how your body feeling. So if you're even if you're eating some of the shade vegetables and stuff, if you got celiac disease and all the things that it is what's going on with your body is going to tell you. It's an amazing tool. You can read the books, you can do the research. That's all good. I'm the baddest outside coach there is. But you got a better inside coach, and that's your body, telling you exactly what it is that you need. The question I would say to you, are you listening?
I received that. So I got to ask this question because it happened to be called Breakthrough to Purpose, Passion. Are you living in your purpose?
Yes, it came. We always looking for our purpose, but you can't find it. It's just going to come. It's going to come. When you talk about the light, like even sitting here talking about, meals, mindset, movement makes my ears burn. I got you. So when something makes you feel like that, it becomes your purpose. Again, this was, like I said, when I think way back then when I was sick in the cancer, this was a promise that I made to God, turned into a plan, became my passion. Then the purpose showed up. Because now understanding your purpose is how are you going to serve other people? How are you going to help somebody else with what you know, what you learn, that's going to get them to their best next? Not the next best, to their best next. Because that's what being well is all about. My job is to get you where you can't take yourself when it comes to health, but to give you the tools and all the wellness. I call them my wellness pills, all the wellness. You want to take a pill? Come take some of these wellness pills, because I tell my clients everything. Why is it okay with you that you rather take 2 prescribed pills than to take 2 stairs?
Am I supposed to answer? Was that rhetorical?
No, it's not.
I receive it.
Because why is it okay? If the diabetics, the high cholesterol and the hypertension, we're taking 1 or 2 pills a day, but you don't want to walk up the stairs. I have such an issue with that. But again, that's my personal issue. My thing is that whereas before when I got to understanding the power of being healthy, girl, I would try to shove it down your throat even when you ain't want it. Now, I just open the door because, again, it's personal. So my wellness door is open. I know how to be well. If it's something that you want, I'm here to show you how to do it, because when I get up in the morning, God gives me this breath, I inhale to learn, but I exhale to teach. So teaching women how to be well, it's beyond my purpose.
I receive it. What is I think passion fuels your purpose. So I in our conversation, I'm very clear about your passion. Okay. So to ask it would be redundant in my mind at this point. But my next question is, what is prosperity to you?
When you sent it to me and I went and looked it up so I can say, okay, what is this? And as I sitting about it and living it, prosperity to me, when I think about it, is something I always say is, it's the power of the P. And prosperity is one of the P's. So as I was sitting thinking about it, I said, so what does that mean? So it means that at some point, I changed my perception, right? I got a new perspective. I practice, right? I have this process that I follow that increases my performance. So when I think about prosperity, I would just simply say it's just my practice. As long as I continue to practice being well. My grandmother said to me, baby, when you go to the doctor, they just practice medicine. They really don't know. I was a little tiny thing. So for right now, I'm practicing to be the best version of me, and that sits me right down into my prosperity in a sense where I get to teach it to others.
I receive it. I receive it so much. My final question is there anything that I didn't ask that you want to share with the audience?
Just do it. One of the things I say about, you get to decide, make the decision. And I would say for anybody that listens to this, when you hear this piece, just repeat it with me. My health is the first thing.
My health is the first thing.
And everything else is the next thing.
Everything else is the next thing.
You get to decide.
You get to decide.
So at some point during the course of your day, put yourself in the equation of your life. That's what I want to say. So just an analogy of it is that, when we're talking about making a call, our calling, we would make these toll-free calls, 800-555-1234. But there was always a lady back then that would come on the line that says that you must first dial a 1 before this call can be completed. I'm here to tell each and every one of you, you are the one in your formula. If you don't put yourself in, you will not make the call.
I love it. And as we end with that, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I hope you too find your breakthrough to purpose, passion, and prosperity.